So the Pistons got involved in the Jimmy Butler trade,
Yep.
and initially they
As
got
we said they would, by the way.
yeah, we did say that. A lot of things that we said about the trading deadline did come true. They
Yep.
got Josh Richardson from the Miami Heat, really good shooting guard. Obviously, he's been injured this year. He's with Utah, and they got Lindy Waters III uh, from the Golden State Warriors as part of getting involved in that trade. So I want to get kind of like just your overall thoughts with that trade. I know Trajan has said like they were going to be facilitators if deals made sense. Like, what do you make of getting a shooter like a Lindy Waters?
Yeah, Trajan said that Lindy Waters is someone that, has been on his radar for a good while. He's someone that, has been within, like has been in like pretty elite programs as far as the teams that he's played with, obviously with Oklahoma City and Golden State. So, I think as far as, someone to go out and get who is, who has some youth, but at the same time, I mean, he's 27 years old. He has some experience. You're able to bring him on the end of the bench and as much as it's unfortunate to see someone like, a Wendell Moore have to be released in order to make the roster spot, I think ultimately they got someone who can give a little bit more reliable 3-point shooting, someone who could be, like a defensive energy guy and just give you a little bit more overall depth. The fact that, the Pistons were able to do all of these things without really giving up anybody is, I think, the thing that really just speaks to, like the most impressive part of this deadline to me, which is that, we talked about how they're going to be looking to acquire salaries, but I think they're going to be more selective. Like, I think if the Pistons were, kind of more like what we thought they would be, I think they would have been all over like a Yusuf Nurkic deal to go get a first round pick alongside with that. But since they are firm in that playoff position, I don't think they want to mess with the chemistry of this team. And I don't think they want to bring in, just dead weight if they don't have to. So I think that's the big thing that I really liked from this deadline is they still got assets, but they also got players that can legitimately plug in and play now, fit your scheme, and don't mess up what you have going on.
Yeah, I know Trajan had mentioned that in his press conference. I believe it was yesterday, and he kind of touched on Lindy that when he was in OKC, he was asking their coaching and just like their scouts, like kind of just like about him, and they wouldn't say anything
Yep.
while he was in OKC. And he's like, when I was with New Orleans, like I saw what he could do. He could shoot, he could pass, defend. Um, and funny enough, the first YouTube video that popped up on my timeline when I typed in his name is when he went nuclear on the Pistons in the preseason.
Yep.
Funny enough,
Yep.
he was just lighting us up from three, playing the passing lanes. I think he's kind of like an under the radar guy that could pop off here. And I think like when you look at him as well, like he's not on like a big contract either. So
No.
it's kind of like a prove it thing. Like if he
Mhm.
wants to stay in Detroit, like he's going to have a good opportunity to play for a playoff team that is currently in the 6th seed to get some minutes. I don't really know where he goes in the rotation. I made like a whole updated rotation depth chart. I had him like a third string small forward because I
Yeah.
just I have no idea like where you would actually put him. But I watched, some tape on him today. I think there's a lot to like there with him.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a stay ready guy, to start his tenure with the Pistons. I think he probably slots in pretty similar to where Wendell Moore, slotted in the rotation, someone that, is available to play and, will give energy minutes when needed. But I would say for the most part, I don't necessarily expect him, especially right away. I don't necessarily expect him to be playing heavy minutes, right off the bat.
Yeah, me either. It's just good to have guys like that, and you really didn't have to give up a lot to get them. You had the roster spot, you had the cap space,
Yep.
you were helping facilitate a bigger trade. Now, I did not expect Jimmy Butler to go to Golden State. I thought KD was going to Golden State. Funny enough, because there was like so many rumblings of like, oh, is KD going to go back to Golden State? And then KD's like, hell no, I don't want to see Draymond again. Like,
Yeah, that was a very, very fascinating situation to watch evolve, especially because like a week ago, Jimmy Butler said something to the effect of he didn't want to extend if he were to go to Golden State. And then he pretty much realized that that was going to be his only option. And then all of a sudden he was like, I'd be glad to extend with Golden State. Go Dubs. Like it's interesting what happens when, what your options suddenly become very limited. And I mean, he got a pretty solid haul as far as his contract goes. I think he's like 2 years, $120 million. So, I mean, Jimmy certainly got paid for sure. But I mean, for the Pistons, you got Lindy Waters, out of that. You also, got the more headline player out of that as well in a Dennis Schroeder. So, just all just for merely being there to have the cap space and to help the deal get done. They get players and picks, which who says no to that?